The storm had just started when 12-year-old Alina dragged herself into the small, dimly lit workshop on the edge of town. Rainwater soaked her worn clothes, and her crutches shook under the weight of her trembling hands. She wasn't supposed to be out alone, but she had no choice. Every doctor, every hospital, every charity had given her the same answer: "We're sorry, we can't help." But she wasn't willing to give up. Inside the workshop, surrounded by the smell of engine oil and metal dust, stood Arman Khan, a quiet mechanic known more for his stubbornness than his skill. He looked up as she entered, confused but curious. It wasn't every day a child walked into his shop in the middle of a storm. "Sir," she said, her voice barely steady. "I heard you fix anything. Could you fix me?" Arman stared at her legs, thin and twisted since birth, and then at the broken crutches she held like lifelines. Something inside him softened. He gestured to a chair, grabbed a towel, and knelt in front of her without saying a word. Her story came out slowly. Her mother worked 2 jobs. Her father had left years ago. She had been rejected from every prosthetic program because they said her condition was too complicated, too expensive, or not promising enough. She had given up on walking like other children, until she heard rumors that the mechanic on Old River Road could build anything out of anything. Arman exhaled deeply. "I fix machines, Beta," he said gently. "Not people." Alina wiped her eyes. "I don't need magic. I just need someone who believes I'm worth the effort." Those words pierced him more deeply than any wrench slipping from his hand ever had. He nodded. That night, Arman didn't close his shop. He studied her legs, measured angles, sketched designs, and tossed crumpled papers across the floor. He didn't know the science of prosthetics, but he knew engineering, physics, balance, and the desperation in a girl's eyes when the world keeps telling her she's not worth the trouble. For the first time in years, Arman felt like he was building something that mattered. Over the next 3 weeks, Alina came every day after school. She sat on an old toolbox while Arman molded metal frames, attached joint hinges, and checked alignment again and again. She learned how to stabilize, how to shift her weight, how to take tiny steps. Sometimes she fell. Sometimes she cried. And sometimes, when she pushed herself up again, Arman felt pride swell in his chest like a rising tide. But there was a problem he didn't tell her about. The custom materials he needed were expensive, far beyond what he could afford. He started working late-night shifts at the gas station and sold his old motorcycle just to keep going. He never told Alina because he didn't want her to feel like a burden. Then, one evening, after she had finally taken her first shaky steps across the workshop floor, something happened that neither of them expected. A man in a black suit stepped into the shop. Arman recognized the logo on his car immediately, a luxury brand only the wealthy used. The man introduced himself as David Hamilton. He was polite but direct. "I'm here because of a video," he said. Arman froze. A video? David showed him. It was a shaky clip recorded by someone at the marketplace, Alina taking her first few steps on the metal legs Arman had built. The caption read, "A mechanic gave a disabled girl a miracle." It had gone viral overnight. David continued, "Our company specializes in advanced prosthetics. The CEO, my father, insisted we find the mechanic responsible for this." Arman's first thought was that he had done something wrong. Maybe he had broken some law or medical regulation. But then David smiled warmly. "We want to help. And we want to help her." The next morning, Arman stood outside his workshop with Alina and her mother when they heard a roaring noise overhead. A sleek white private jet descended at the town's small airstrip, drawing a crowd instantly. David stepped out and waved. "Ready for a little trip?" Alina froze, her eyes wide, clutching Arman's sleeve. "Me? You?" David said. "We want to give you real prosthetics, lightweight, comfortable, built perfectly for your body. And we want your mechanic to help design them." Arman shook his head. "Me? I'm just a simple mechanic." David put a hand on his shoulder. "You're the one who changed her life. We're just finishing what you started." Alina hugged Arman so tightly he felt his heart break and heal at the same time. They flew to the Hamilton Prosthetics Research Center, a place filled with robotics, 3D printers, and scientists who seemed baffled and impressed by Arman's makeshift designs. Together, they worked for weeks, merging Armin's hands-on intuition with the company's advanced technology. The final result was breathtaking, a pair of lightweight carbon fiber legs designed specifically for Alina. The day she tried them on, she didn't just walk, she ran. She ran straight into Armin's arms. Her mother cried. The engineers clapped. Even David wiped his eyes. Armin looked at her, breathless with laughter, and said, "See. I told you I only fix machines. You fixed yourself." But Alina shook her head. "No, Armin. You fixed my hope." Months passed. Alina went back to school, confident and joyful. She joined the track club. She started dreaming bigger, maybe someday she'd help other kids like herself. And Armin. He became a consultant for the company, training engineers on practical field design and helping children in need all around the country. He still kept his small workshop, though. Because every time it rained, he remembered the little girl who walked in, soaked and trembling, asking the question that changed both their lives. "Could you fix me?" And how hope, once believed in, can take flight, sometimes even in a private jet.